What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Collider Interview Studio at Fantastic Fest 2023. I'm sitting with Jenn Wexler, the director of The Sacrifice Game. Loved your movie. Congratulations.
Thanks.
So clearly I know about your movie. Our audience might not know just yet. So can you give a brief synopsis of your film?
Yes. The Sacrifice Game takes place in 1971 around Christmas. And it's at this boarding school. And a bunch of the girls have gone home, but there's two girls that have to remain there over break. And then a Manson-esque group of cult killers comes to the school, and they're up to no good, and the girls have to survive the night.
You were very ready for that question, and I appreciate it.
I've thought about it a little bit.
As you should. So I was reading that you wrote the first draft of the screenplay in 2013. What is the biggest difference between that draft and finished film now?
Oh, man, there is a big difference. It would be a major spoiler to reveal it.
Okay.
But I'll say it's a plot thing.
I want to know.
I'll tell you offline.
It's literally taking everything in me not to be like, tell me now.
It's a plot thing.
Okay.
That's the biggest difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
I definitely need to know just to have this information in my own back pocket after. I was reading a little bit about how you really appreciated the bootstrap approach to filmmaking that Glass Eye Pix uses. So can you maybe give us an example of how you implement that in your own filmmaking process now?
Oh, for sure. I worked for Glass Eye Pix, Larry Fessenden's production company, from like 2013 to 2019. I produced like 6 features for them. My first feature as a director, The Ranger, was through Glass Eye. And you just learn to make movies like with your hands. You learn to make movies with your friends, with what you have available to you. And what's a really important thing I learned from Larry is like, what matters is what's in the frame. That's what matters. That's what you have to keep in mind as a director. There could be a whole bunch of things going on. What is the frame? And what's the emotional undercurrent? Because that is what the frame should be displaying.
Get even more specific with that. Can you maybe isolate a specific filmmaking technique or tool that like is affordable and can be used and made that way, but people overlook it because everyone is so focused on like big budget and resources, but you don't really need those things because these tools exist?
You absolutely don't. Even if you're making a movie on your iPhone, embrace that format. Okay, it's an iPhone movie. If you can, make that part of the story, part of like is it found footage or whatever it is, just embrace that element. But then take your phone and look for the most interesting frame around you. Like in this room, I could find 20 interesting things to point to. And so you have to like embrace what's available to you and use it and think about theme and like emotion and metaphor and like you don't need a ton of money to make something that's effective.
All I'm going to think about now is the curious little details in this room. I'm just now I want to know what's the most interesting thing you see in this room that maybe wouldn't catch someone's eye, but is interesting to you?
Oh my God. Well, there's 1,000 things. I don't know how much you guys can see in this. Like,
I'll take a picture of it and insert it. Yeah. Who is that guy?
I don't know.
We also have our friend right here who's floating away.
There's a fly in here. So yeah, you could do a whole story about the fly in this room that's like bugging us. You could just follow the fly and then we're like out of focus, but you just see hands like shoving it away.
So we're not doing any more interviews this Fantastic Fest. We are just focusing on our Fantastic Fest fly short.
Yeah.
All right. So you brought up The Ranger, so I'll go there next. So I know that you had said that you had the Sacrifice Game script, but you knew you weren't ready to make that. So you did The Ranger first. So what is something that you accomplish in the Sacrifice Game that you know you can credit to your experience making The Ranger?
So with The Ranger, it's a movie that's set in the 80s. I like to call it 80s dreamland, like just left of real life 80s. We're a little bit more colorful, a little bit more fairy tale, dreamlike than real life 80s. But how do you accomplish like an aesthetic? How do you accomplish because everyone's like, oh, period pieces are expensive. For us, the way we did that on The Ranger, it's a movie that's mostly set in the woods. And so we have the woods, that's our set. And then we expressed the period through costumes. So you're only focused on the costumes and you're only focused on the props. And I took that exact same approach with The Sacrifice Game, we had this incredible boarding school.
Beautiful location.
Thank you. It's called Oka's Abbey. It's right outside of Montreal. And so that was our canvas. And then how do we express the 70s? We're doing it through costumes, we're doing it through props and through set dressing and yeah, music, all this stuff.
I was also reading that some crew members had ghostly experiences and that I love hearing about those stories. So can you share any with us?
Absolutely. So this building was probably built in 17 or 1800s. It's beautiful. It reminded me of like a European art house films. And yeah, when we were shooting there, I did not have any ghostly experiences because there's the fly, by the way.
Wait. Oh no, it's too far from me now.
I was like really focused on directing. So I was like, ghosts, do not get in my headspace. You better stay out of my headspace. But other people on set experienced like weird things with lights. Our producers were in a room and there were all these candles that were set up and they were having a conversation like over here and they all just knocked down by themselves. So yeah, creepy things happened.
Very open to and into those kinds of things.
Yeah.
I went far ahead. I want to back up a little because I'm curious if you could give us a little insight into what it was like going from first feature to second feature. Because I feel like a lot of people out there think, oh, making your first one is the hardest. But sometimes it could be just as hard, if not harder, to get the green light on your second film after a successful first feature. So maybe can you pinpoint a misconception about what it is like to get the go ahead on your second film?
Yeah, for me, I wanted The Sacrifice Game to be at a bigger budget than the first film, and that was really the thing that took a long time. Also, COVID was in there too, so nobody was making movies for quite a while. So it wasn't only I felt that I had made a lot of movies at a low budget and learned all about that, and I wanted to challenge myself and go up to the next step, which is why I didn't do a ton of, just stuff by myself during that time frame. I was really focused in that time thinking about The Sacrifice Game, writing The Sacrifice Game, and like planning for when the day would come that, hopefully we would get to make the movie. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. So you got there, you got to make the movie, and you got to make the movie with like a killer ensemble.
Yeah.
I want to highlight everyone. I'll ask two questions to get as many at as many of them as we possibly can. First, of all the members of this ensemble, which character was the most difficult to cast? Where finding the perfect person was very challenging. But then I want the opposite, one where it was like the right person just magically appeared and it all worked out.
I have to say, the whole process was really, like, weirdly easy. In hindsight, easy. Like, in the moment, of course, you're like, this is hard. But, like, in hindsight, easy. It really, when we had Mena Massoud, who...
So good.
From Aladdin
so
and other great things. When he came on, and also when Olivia Scott Welsh came on from Fear Street and the TV show Panic, we were like... We had our financing, we were going. So that's probably the hardest thing in terms of like getting the movie going, which is often how it is, like you're greenlit when you're cast. But then the process was really great. Chloë Levine, who's in The Ranger and one of my best friends, I had her in mind when writing the role of Rose, and she came on and played that role. And then we found, we have Gus Kenworthy, who plays Jimmy, and he's like an Olympic skier and just incredible. Like, he's also an American Horror Story, so he's an actor, an athlete. He does like everything. And then we, through auditions, worked with actors from Canada, and we found it's an 8-person ensemble piece. So we found Madison Baines, who plays Samantha, Georgia Acken, who plays Clara, Laurent Petra, who plays Doug, and Derek Johns, who plays Grant. But the process was like really quick. Actually, like everybody came on within a couple weeks of us starting to shoot. So yeah.
I lie. Now 2 questions came into my mind. So first, to highlight, I love highlighting the different acting processes out there. Can you maybe pinpoint 2 cast members in this ensemble who have completely different approaches to the work where it demands something different from you as their actor's director?
Oh, interesting. I'll say that Laurent, who plays Doug, is really into improv. Like, he likes to improvise things, which totally works for the character of Doug. And there's some great lines in the movies that he just improvised, which usually I'm a little bit against improv. Like, I'm like fine with that. I'm like, let's do the script first, and then we can do a take where you like come up with a different line or whatever. But some of the stuff that he was giving was just like, it was really in sync with the vibe that we were going for. But I have to say, everybody, the way I like to work with actors is I like to have a lot of conversations with them, and we kind of like define the arcs of the characters, and we define the objectives of like the character's overall life. What do they want in life? And then from there we can go on a scene by scene basis. So I find that that's like a process that works for a lot of people.
With that in mind, which character changed the most after casting, where what that actor brought to the role took the character in a different direction than you originally planned?
I'll say, again, with Laurent, he really brought that character to life. I think he brought they all, for the record, all brought the character there. But with Doug, I think maybe we had underwritten him slightly, and then Laurent like found the nuances in that character.
You can't have this many main characters and have them all be memorable unless all of the actors understand their character, know exactly how to bring them to life on screen.
Yeah, they were all incredible. And what was really, really lovely is they all became like a family on set, and their dynamics and their energies like fed into each other. And they, Samantha and Clara, Madison and Georgia, they became like best friends while we were shooting, which was like, that's what we need, that we need that energy. There's a lot of different relationship dynamics that we're playing with here, a lot of different people playing off each other, and how does that person feel about that person? How does that one feel about that one? And everybody was just in sync and, and created those relationship dynamics with each other.
I had another Mena question. Oh, I know what it is. Was the genie line specifically written when he was cast in that role?
It was before that.
It was before that. It was
before he was cast.
Like it was meant to be.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
He is really something else in this, because I feel like the large majority, like he's done other things, of course, but the large majority of people out there are going to see Aladdin take this turn, and it was a delicious opportunity for him.
Yeah, and it was really fun working with Mena and getting to go to those places and just being like, let's see how evil we can. And he was so down.
Can you maybe give us an example of a time when he took a really big swing, where whether it's in the movie or not, he just like went for it?
Well, he's incredible because he really knows how to ride that line. And with this character, he kind of starts off in an evil, dark place, and and then there's a whole journey after that. So Mena was really great about finding that arc even when you're starting from a dark place.
Okay, so you brought up starting from a dark place, so I'll go here next. The opening oneer. Can you maybe pinpoint the most difficult part of executing a shot or multiple shots like that?
Yeah, it's just a lot of moving pieces. It's a lot of moving pieces when you have, you have the camera, and you have the actors, and you have the blocking, and you have the special effects, and you have the guy who's in the corner who's going to pull the blood at the right time. And we rehearsed it a lot. Like, we did a lot of rehearsals of it. I feel like by the end of it, everybody, we're talking about like all night long. This is like all we're doing that night. So, but it was my dream. It was probably the first scene that I wrote back in 2013 was this scene. So to get to, to shoot it in that dream way, and also finding that house that it takes place at was literally like 2 blocks away from the school where we were shooting. So it wasn't even like we had to change locations or anything. It's just like, our home base is at the school, and now we're just we're all meeting 2 blocks around the corner to shoot at this house, which just looks like it should, that it came out of 1971.
That is a very well executed and beautifully framed one. Or like in particular, just the opening of it. I feel like that sets the tone, and it's such a memorable image right at the beginning.
Thank you.
Very, very well done. All right, you brought up effects. I'll go there next. I could talk about, like bloody, wild movie magic all day long. And I know you had a really great FX team here. So can you maybe pinpoint something that you did on set or saw them do on set that made you think like, I can't believe that is what it takes to make it look like that on screen?
Oh my gosh. Well, we have the special effects team, the Blood Brothers. So they were responsible for bringing all the blood. They also brought the snow because we shot in the spring. So they brought the practical snow also. And then separately from them, we worked with Adrian Morot and his team, and they did the prosthetics. So, getting to see how those teams work together. By the way, Adrian Morot did the Megan doll and won an Oscar for The Whale. So getting that was, I just on our in our meetings prepping for everything, it was just so fascinating just hearing his ideas. He's the expert. I'm like, oh, tell me how we can take this idea and make it really exciting and really go there. And also there's a design later on in the film that I won't get too deep into, but there's a design later on in the film that was really cool, and that was all Adrian, and he rules.
Good tease. Yeah. I like it. All right, I'll wind down with maybe 2 more questions. One really big thing that I love to talk about is that every single film you make, you kind of find your storytelling voice more and more, and then you're able to apply that to your next film. So can you maybe tell me something specific you discovered about your own voice as a filmmaker on Sacrifice Game that you're eager to explore more on another feature film?
Oh, interesting. Well, I will say that I started to realize you start to see similarities. I see similarities in The Ranger, in Sacrifice Game. Certainly from a storytelling perspective, I was very aware that I like writing scripts about, young women dealing with stuff through the lens of genre. That I totally knew. But then throughout the process, just realizing the way that I like, the lenses that I like to use, the kind of wide angle lenses, close on characters, those kinds of things. I'm like, oh yeah, I use that in The Ranger too, but I love it. Oh, it feels so good. I like this kind of a little bit comic booky, a little graphic novel-y, a little fairy tale-esque, taking these worlds and kind of just making them have a slightly fairy tale kind of quality is something I really enjoy doing.
I dig that. I can't wait to see more of it. All right, I'm going to end with a Fantastic Fest question here because I've always wanted to come here. This is my first time coming to the film festival, and the second I walked into the Alamo, I immediately felt that, that horror community love and support that I love so much, and that I've heard this festival has tenfold compared to any other event out there. So in order to celebrate some of the other filmmakers here, can you pinpoint something you saw in another film at Fantastic Fest that made you go damn, that is incredible, and it inspires me?
Yeah, I can, because I literally just saw it before this interview, which is Crumb Catcher, directed by my friend Chris Scotchable. And we worked together at Glass Eye Picks for years. And I had read the script, and I wasn't involved in the production at all, but I'm friends with them. I knew about the production. And I knew elements of the production, and but seeing it, I was like, damn, Chris, you brought it. This is awesome. It wow, it's incredible. Seek it out, Crumb Catcher.
This is one of the best things about the festival too. It's a place filled with people who know each other, but then also for all the newcomers arriving at the festival for the first time. It's just it's a community that welcomes you with open arms. We have a shared sensibility. We love the same things, and we're all meant to be here together.
100%. Totally.
I love it. And your movie is meant to be here. It's something else. Huge congratulations on the Sacrifice Game. I cannot wait to see what you do next.
Thank you.